beautiful dancer, and welcome to this new video. Today I am so excited to bring to you this incredible conversation with an incredible dancer, which is Amy Sigil. So if you are a fusion dancer or a fusion dance enthusiast, Amy doesn't even require presentation. Amy is an international instructor in dance and team building, the founder of Unmata, owner of Sigil School, and the creator of ITS, Improv Team Sync. Amy has been teaching movements and coaching humans for over 20 years and is a lover of transnational fusion dance, team building, and all things explorative. This conversation is going to be very different from what you're used on this channel. It's very raw, very explorative, and you're gonna love Amy's point of view on her dance journey, and she has so much to offer in terms of inspiration for you as well. So enjoy this conversation. And just before we proceed, I have a little announcement. I created a new free resource for you, which is my 7-minute daily dance ritual. You will find it in the show notes. It's a 7-minute module practice. And I know many dancers, a lot of dancers are writing me, they struggle with consistency in their daily practice, daily dance practice. So with this free video and free guide, I will guide you through my practice structure on how to create a minimal, effective, sustainable, and non-negotiable daily dance practice. Go check the link in the show notes and enjoy this conversation with Amy Sigil. Everything that we are saying, it's already so cool. But anyways, I was watching my old pictures, and I was like, remember when I was there and I was thinking I was awful? I was so cute, you know?
Yeah, Carrie and I say that all the time. We're like, remember when we were young and skinny? And it's not this like, it's not this thing where I'm like also not young and skinny right now. It's just that, yeah, it's really, it's a good lesson for being able to look at yourself now and know that you're never going to be in this place either. And it's a good reminder.
Yeah.
I love that we have to take photos, even though it's painful. It's good for us. It's good for our ego. It's good for the test of time. And you know how people are always like, oh my gosh, like, wow, you look so good for 50. Look at you, whatever. And I'm just like, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Stop saying we look good for 50. Like, this is what 50 looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 is not old. And you know, if you have older people in your life, it's also younger and older people. It's such a good reminder. When I tell my dad, oh, dad, when I turned 50, you know, I was like, oh, dad, 50 years old. And his eyes just light, his eyes just light up. He's 78. He's like, oh, 50. Wow, those were the days, you know? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, because a lot of times I think his dancers were around younger people. So
Yeah.
I just ran into someone at a camp, and I brought my granddaughter Pony with me, who's 11 now. And they're like, oh my gosh, like Pony is 11. Like, doesn't that make you feel so old? And I'm like, no, it doesn't make me feel old. I'm like the youngest, coolest Nana on the planet. Like,
Yes.
no, like I just really am. I'm really fighting that rhetoric right now. I don't know if rhetoric is the right word, but I'm fighting that narrative and that story.
Yeah.
Like the aging dancer. I'm just like, oh, can we just get over this, please?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I
true.
don't want any of that. You know, I love it. I don't want to be an ageist. Who I really find inspiring about that conversation is Suhaila. Suhaila has no problems aging.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, she really doesn't. She really doesn't talk about it at all. It's not this huge like circle of the aging dancer. It's just, especially in what we do.
Yes. That's
Especially in
so
what we do.
true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So true. Actually, I was having this conversation with a couple of dance friends, and they told me, around my age, so like let's say 30ish, 40ish, I'm 39 in a couple of months, and but they were definitely younger than me, and they were like, oh, when I will be 50, I want to be put on a pill and I don't want to get older because I think my life is going to be over. I cannot dance anymore. And I was like, come on, 50? You know, people, sometimes I meet even older people and they're like, 50 is your best time in the world
Yeah.
because, and I was like, what are you talking about? But
Yeah, I agree. I was on an airplane when I turned 40. It was my birthday. I'm on an airplane. I'm sitting next to this lady and I tell her it's my birthday today. I'm turning 40 and she said, "Oh, babe," she said, "life doesn't even begin until 50."
you
And I'm
know,
just like, how am I mean, even my life, I'm like, how am I going to do this, And it's true. It's gotten so much deeper already. And you know what I'm really realizing? I came storming into the bathroom. Carrie and Shelly came up. You know Carrie and Shelly from Moon Mata. Carrie and Shelly came up
yes.
just Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we could work on all of the new ITS. And Shelly and I worked on a new choreo for this next year. And I came flying into the bathroom while Carrie was getting ready. And I was like, you know what I'm realizing? And duh, but it's like you think you understand. And then when you understand a little more, you realize that you didn't understand. But I'm like, dance is for me. Dance is for me. Dance is for you. Like, we think that we're doing it for, like, I guess I thought I was doing it as a gift maybe for a while, where I'm just like, oh, let me gift you this choreography I worked on. Oh, let me gift you this workshop that I worked on. And all of a sudden I'm realizing that really dance is the best for me. My dance is the best for me. It's not the best for everybody else. And even if I was never seen, never got to share, like, I would be a worse person if I didn't dance, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I'm just starting to realize now, I think dancers in their 50s, when I was in my 30s, were probably looking at me and just being like, wow, she got a lot to prove right now.
Yeah,
Looking
of
at Mata
course.
like, what is happening? And all of a sudden I'm realizing that yes, it's a gift, all of that inspiration and stuff, but the biggest gift was to me of my
Yes.
dance. And I have to keep dancing for me, no matter what, whether we make the pay anymore, whether that's how we get paid, whether that's how we survive, whether it's shared with other people. I'm starting to understand right now that this was the best thing for me.
Oh
Simple.
gosh. Yes, it's so, so true. Like today, I was scrolling through my Instagram. I was looking for a very old video I wanted to send a friend. So, this memory lane, like, oh, 2020, oh, 2009. And I was watching all of my videos and, just passing through that moment after COVID that I couldn't dance for work because we were stuck at home. And I was completely lost. And then it was such a messy moment for my life. That moment, like a toxic boyfriend just came away, and then my best friend, so many things. And what I was doing, I was dancing, all of that. And I could
Yeah.
see that dance was really like saved my life. Like it's not something, like newspaper, dance saved my life. But really,
Yeah.
it's
Really.
for me. It's like the way I process
Yeah.
emotions, the way I live my days is really like, if I don't dance, I am the worst person ever.
Yeah, same. And I used to think back in the day, I didn't start in dance. I was not a dream to be a dancer. I never said out loud, "Oh my gosh, I would love to dance." The town that I grew up in did not have a dance studio. I grew up in a cattle town, a cattle rancher town, one stop sign in the whole town, 500 people in the whole town. There was no dance studio. No one talked about dance. Never. So when I fell into dance in my mid 20s, I was like, I miss so much. I'm never I don't have any of this background. Like I just had to work so much harder. And I used to think like, oh, I wish I found dance when I was 3, so I
Yeah.
could like be amazing and have all this flexibility. And then getting to know all of these dancers that started when they were 3 really didn't know what dance brought to them. And they would say wild things like, I don't know if I want to dance anymore. I don't know if dance is really holding me the way it should be. And I don't know if I'm getting enough, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here is where I get to shine. I actually know exactly who I was without dance. I know exactly who I was without dance, and I
Yes.
know exactly who I am with dance. And some of these people who are questioning what if dance is good for them, they're looking at a different picture than I am. They're looking at like relationships and how their
Yeah.
teachers made them feel when they were 5 and all of this very complicated things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dance really has been so good to me. I'm not saying every dancer's been so good to me.
Yeah,
I
of
was
course.
also really lucky with like the most kindest, generous teachers ever. I wasn't the dancer that had really, really horrible teachers in my life, but I'm just like, oh, thank goodness I found dance in my 20s because
Yeah.
I probably would have quit in my 30s, just being like, ugh, what does dance do for me? You know, because I wouldn't even know.
And also, I think it was your choice. It was
Yeah,
not someone else, like your family, mommy,
yeah,
daddy, whatever. It was you. Like, I choose, I want to do this. It's not something to feel imposed by society. You've been growing up doing this, but you never actually questioned that. So it's a very different starting
it is
point.
different. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And quite, when you say choice, it reminds me, my dad is a preacher. And
Hmm.
yeah, so I came from a very religious family, and there was not a lot of choice in the religion.
Hmm.
So, of course, I went 180 degrees the other way and decided to practice witchcraft and become a lesbian and grow out my armpit hair and be a belly
Of
dancer.
course.
And I'm always like, Dad, this is your fault. All of this is you.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was not a preacher, but he was a policeman.
Oh,
So very similar and somehow a side
very
effect,
similar. Yeah,
As
yeah,
we said, the complications, of having a woman,
yeah, yeah.
as a child,
It's their lessons
basically.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's
That's what they say
it's your,
about your children. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but tell me more. Okay, first question for you
Okay.
for today's conversation. But so you mentioned how you didn't have a dance studio in your town, but how did you find out dance and belly dance specifically? How this
Yeah.
happened?
Never thought about it until it opened up into my life. I mean, really, really, like, never thought about it. I didn't even go to the school dances. I didn't dance. I was obsessed with horses, motorcycles, and sports. I was on every sports team, volleyball, basketball, track, obsessed. I loved my quarter horse. I lived on a big, not a big, I lived on a medium sized cattle ranch. We had cows and horses and animals, pickup trucks. It was about like taking your horse to the pizza place. And it just, dance was not on the radar at all. And then fast forward when I was about, I grew up in California, and that's where drugs are made. You know that Marilyn
Mhm.
Manson song, "Drugs," they say, were made in California. So we
Yeah.
we really grew up experimenting a lot with drugs. I was born in '74, so the '70s, the '80s, the '90s, and I went as deep as anybody else did. And when I was 21 years old, I was not able to take care of my first child. I got pregnant
Mm.
with Tangerine. Everybody knows Tangerine because Tangerine was around, and Plum. But I had Tangerine, and I was doing a lot of drugs. I was smoking a lot of methamphetamines, and I just was out of control. Lived in an apartment with no electricity, no running water. I used to have people chew gum when they came in my apartment and then spit out their gum when they were done. And I would put it on the wall and I would sculpt it with toothpicks. And I made this giant bubble gum wall art in this apartment that was
Oh
just
my gosh.
wild. I used to stay up for days and days and days and like work on these bubblegum sculptures, which now I think is extremely not hygienic at all. But I used toothpicks, but I was just like, here, chew this gum. Here, chew. So I was like obsessed with some really weird things artistically. And I did a lot of painting back then. I really enjoyed painting a lot. Never thought about dance. So my life eventually just bottomed out. I wasn't able to take care of my child, take care of myself. And fortunately, my parents stepped in and they took Tangerine. And I left California. I left with my little sister at the time, who was 13 years old. And we took off and were unhoused for quite a while. And I was unhoused before that as well for a little while. I spent a lot of time in Oregon in the parks hanging out. And then sister and I took off. I have great stories about it. We slept in public bathrooms. We got kicked out of every place. And I was actually panhandling. I don't know if you say the same thing. I was asking for money at a gas station in Arizona. And I did this all the time. And I was very young and I knew how to make eye contact. I grew up in the church. So it's actually very, very good at getting money from people. And I would ask for money at gas stations or rest stops or whatever because we had a car that we could get the gas in. So I ran out of gas. I'm in Tucson, Arizona with my 13-year-old little sister. I think I'm 21 at the time. And I was asking for money at this gas station. And the manager of the gas station, which is normal, came out and said, "Hey, you can't be here. You can't ask people for money." And so I just laid it on real thick and smiled and was like, "This is my sister. I'm taking care of my sister. I just need to get $10 in my gas tank. I'm going to be out of your way. Don't worry about it. Like I'll be very kind. I'm going to be so quick." And he went back into, it was the Circle K on Speedway in Arizona. It's a convenience store, gas station. So he went back into the store for a while and then he came back out and he said, "Hey, do you and your sister, would you like a sandwich and something to drink?" And I was like, "That would be so amazing. Thank you so much." So he brought out some sandwiches and a drink and we started chatting at this little picnic table. He went back inside, he came back out and he said, "Do you want a job? I could give you a job right now. I have an opening. We could give it a shot. And I have a friend who has a furnished apartment and we could move you in, and as long as you're working here, then we know the bills are going to be paid." And so I went out to my sister and I was like, is this, and I was trying to make it to New Mexico is where I was trying to make it to, but I didn't make it. Hi, babe. So I was like, "You know what, let's do it." So I got this job from this guy, I got this apartment from this guy, and I actually ended up getting sober from meth in
Mm.
Tucson, Arizona, which I guess is really funny because people go there to do drugs all the time, but I didn't know anybody. So everybody's like, how did you stop doing drugs in Tucson?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I guess I just didn't know anybody." So it took me about a year in Tucson. Well, it took me about 6 months in Tucson to really be able to get it together. And then I went back to the house, got Tangerine, brought her to Tucson, and really struggled. And then I got pregnant with Plum. So then I was like, I have to be back in California near my parents. So then I hustled the family back to California and ended up in Sacramento, which is where I was born, but I never really lived there. So I lived in this small town that was like 2 hours away from Sacramento, but I was born at the hospital there. So I ended up back in my hometown and started getting things back together. And I really needed some better hobbies. And that's all I
Mm.
could do is like, how can I stay? Because I was coming down for so long, for so long. So I was like, okay, I picked up, those Park and Recs magazines, and it's like we have these things called Park and Recs, Park and Recreation, but they have these like parks, and then they have this like community building, and then they teach classes in these community buildings. So I picked up a cooking class and a ceramics class and a belly dance class. And I was not interested in any of these things at all. I just knew that I had to stay busy on like Monday through Thursday nights and just be like, I got to do something else in my life. So this belly dance class was taught by this woman named Julia Carroll. And Julia really she was in Northern California, we were about an hour and 15 minutes away from the Salampour family. So
Mm.
my teacher was very, very influenced by Jamila, by John Compton, and by this woman named Susanna Del Vecchio, who was in Colorado. And so it was not a rock sharky class at all. It was already a very Northern California Salampour family format that I
Yeah,
started with. Like one, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it at all. It was just a belly dance class. But
of
then in
course.
retrospect, later I was like, oh, this is a lot of the Salampour family influence. But of course, we were so close to her. Nova, get up there. Get up there. Stop making me stress out. Thank you. So I started studying with this woman who was so kind to me, and I didn't like it at all. I really didn't like it.
Mm.
I didn't like the dance. I didn't know anything about dance. I didn't like the music. I was so sorry. I really didn't care for it. I also didn't care for the ceramics, and I also didn't care for the cooking class. But this woman, Julia, was so welcoming, so kind, and she would say ridiculous things to me like, "Wow, you're such a natural." Like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you've never danced before. Like, look at you. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful." And she directed this troupe called Ottoman Traders, and they did all of the Renaissance fairs that Balinat and Hobby Rue did not do.
Beautiful.
And
Ah,
so they did all of these different ones, the Sacramento one and the Fair Oaks one and this and that and the other thing. And so it was about a year and a half. The only reason I stuck it out is because I really didn't have anything else to do. And this woman was so nice to me.
well, that's a very honest,
There really was no drive for me at all. I really was like, I didn't really care for it. It wasn't me at all. Also, because it was really designed around the Renaissance fair, there was a lot of storytelling in it. Like, I had a different name, I had a different story. They talked in accents at the fair. They were really into history, and I was really not into history. And I don't really even think I'm into history now. I'm like really quite, I'm not even in the future. I'm really quite a present person. And so I was not interested in knowing the maps of the 15th century Ottoman trader silk caravan path. I was 24, 25, maybe like 25 years old. And I was more into the drug culture. I just had a, it was so interesting. But yeah, I really wasn't like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. I didn't love the costuming. I still don't love costuming. I didn't love the makeup. I still don't love makeup. But this woman really, really hyped me up. Like,
mm,
really hyped me up. And I know that this was a time when a lot of teachers in the scene were really bringing people down. Like, you're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be this. You don't know enough. You're not enough. Like, you better try
yeah,
harder. You better work harder. And there was a lot of, I'm just going to say it, there was a lot of toxicity in the scene, in putting dancers against each other and auditioning in front of each other and all of these things that I would have never made it through. I would have never made it through. It was
yeah,
nothing that I wanted. But this woman just kept telling me how great I was and how beautiful I was and how important and I wasn't. I wasn't. But this woman hyped me up. So I just kept showing up on whatever night it was. And then about a year and a half later, she's like, come and dance with my troupe. Like, come and dance with the troupe, learn the choreographies. So that's when I started doing the Renaissance fairs a little bit. And all of these women were probably in their 50s, 60s, even 70s at the time. So I was so safe. I think it was a problem that I was so safe. There was some like false confidence that I walked away with that really served me. I,
what
you
do you
know,
mean?
well, what's interesting is that the first time I went to Brazil to
Mm,
study with Rosangela Silvestri, one of the big critiques I had, which I drowned in this intensive, I drowned. I was way out of my element. And it was a really important and horrifying dance experience for me. But I got this critique, which was huge for me. And they said, you feel too safe in dance. Have you always felt safe in dance? Like, where is your awareness around you? And I started to see the difference of my experience, which I think it was a very privileged white experience in
mm,
belly dance that I had, that other movers didn't get to have. Source dancers, people from the culture, black and brown bodies, that were put under much more. But I literally was taken in like I was a little baby and just like
yeah,
loved to death, that I was even told, this is your safe space. This is a safe space for you. And you hear that in certain dance classes all the time. And not everybody gets that. And not every
yeah,
dance class is a safe class. And I would even say that most dance classes aren't safe classes now.
yeah,
But at the
yeah.
time, this woman was like, this is a safe space for you.
Mm.
They even
That's
said things
actually
like,
That's actually a beautiful thing, right? You know, to create a safe space for your students and to make them feel like they can express themselves without feeling judged, but actually supported. You know, I think it was such a beautiful thing for
I
you.
could do no wrong. I could do
Yeah.
no wrong in that, in front of that woman. Nothing was wrong. And I am very, very lucky. But I also came out of that experience at like 28 and 29 years old, being like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And that's
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows that's exactly what I did. I
All right.
danced to music. I made a lot of personal artistic choices with a large amount of ego and confidence. Where I
Hmm.
look back at it now and I'm like, wow, who did you think you were?
Well,
But I wouldn't have made
experimenting,
it.
definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it without her. And then I saw ATS for the first time, like 5 years later. I saw FCBD 5 years later. And coming from a sports background, especially basketball, I was like, oh, here's the team sport, because doing troop choreography with Julia was amazing, but it actually wasn't a team sport. People think that troop dancing is team sports. It's not. If you don't ever touch each other and there's no communication between each other and you just do the exact same choreography right next to each other, which I love. I love, the staging of a troop, but there was no teamwork. It didn't
Hmm.
matter. I actually wanted to do it better, or it didn't matter if somebody else messed up next to me. I needed to focus on myself. And as soon as I saw Fat Chance, I was like, here's the basketball team. Here's the
Hmm.
team. Here's big communication. Here's a point guard leading the position. Someone's calling the plays. You could win, you can lose. There's something at risk in it. And I was like, this is speaking to my sports dynamic, my church Sunday school team, my basketball team. So I was like, oh, look at this. So then I started studying group improv and the Fat Chance format for about 5 years.
Hmm.
And then really was more conceptual for me. I wasn't attracted to the costuming. I was just too sporty for it. And I wasn't attracted to the music. I'm super into like current music and pop and all of the fun stuff, especially in Northern California. I was like, you give me that hip hop, I want to talk about weed culture. I wanted to really embrace it myself. So we had a ATS teacher, Fat Chance teacher, and I was studying with them for 5 years. And then they quit teaching. And I was just like, oh, well, what do I do now? And Unmata was already around. They were doing fusion choreographies. And then I would also do the Fat Chance format with this other person. And then when they quit, Unmata was like, oh no, like we don't have any group improv. But the group improv, Fat Chance didn't match Unmata. We couldn't wear the same costuming. The sets couldn't run together because I was using like hip hop music and it just wasn't right. So I remember talking to Unmata and being like, okay, we could make our own group improv format, but this is going to take me like my entire life to make this. And Shelly was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So then we started digging into ITS and making it something that was more authentic to me. And I really do love the Fat Chance format. I love group improv. Like I'm obsessed, everybody knows, with group improv, but stylistically it just wasn't authentic to me. And I think that's what we're all looking at now. You know what I mean? Is are we playing? Are we pretending? Or is this from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, is the journey authentic or did you plug and play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, just before our interview, I was interviewing another beautiful dancer, which is Giuline Andrade from Brazil, Salvatore de Bahia.
Brazil.
And and you just mentioned Rosangela Silvestre, so I was like, perfect match.
Yeah, Brazil taught me so much. Brazil really humbled me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
Brazil
and
really humbled
she
me.
and she just said the same thing you're saying, like, what are the key elements? And she said authenticity. Like, what's your story? What, like, first person point of view?
Yeah.
How can you express from that first person your story, your vision, your um, organically? How can you put all of you together and perform that and show
Yeah.
that, you know?
Yeah. Yes. And that's what I
So,
had to reckon with because before I was pretending to be Julia, and in the Renaissance Fair I was pretending that my name was Yasmin and I was from something, and then in Fat Chance I was pretending that I knew about all of this costuming that I didn't know about. I was dancing to music that I didn't understand, and then I was finally forced to reckon with, like, how does this affect you for real? How can you come for real from this experience?
and I think I mean, I live in Italy, so Unmata has been something I'm always been like a big inspiration, but we never truly met. But what I felt like in the as part of this worldwide community, how we want to call it, scene, I was definitely influenced by Unmata's like badass
Yeah.
decision of being Unmata,
Yeah. Yeah, we really came out hot. We really just
So
came out
bold.
hot. So bold. Yeah. I just sometimes I'm just like, wow. But I had a lot to prove. I wasn't a dancer, so I think that I was trying to make up for a lot of my skills by being brave. And I
Mm.
know that, you can enter into performance and creativity from so many different angles, and for me it was really rebellion, bravery. I didn't have the technique and I didn't have the training, so I needed to come out with something um, powerful that I could show. And I really think it was the avenue of, um, it's not confidence. It's, yeah, I guess it's bravery. It's doing something that you're afraid to do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I think the work that you did and you still do with Unmata is so precious because you're giving your students and the people that follow your style the possibility to be like boldly, themselves. You don't
Yeah.
have to pretend
Yeah.
you're Yasmin from Cairo, or any other Manhattan region, or you're you.
Yeah.
I'm Barbara from Italy, and I'm gonna dance boldly, and I'm gonna be powerful, and I'm gonna be brave. That's
Yeah, and I think
what
I
I
kind of
feel.
had that back door to dance, where everybody was like, I've been dancing since I was 3 years old and I'm trained in ballet, tap, jazz, flamenco, and something. It's like that wasn't relatable for a lot of people. So I think I had a little bit more inclusivity at the time when everybody was trying to be exclusive and better,
Mm.
and like, I only want these people in my group because I want it to look a certain way. I think I was fortunate enough to have this back door to dance and be like, oh no, actually I could teach you how to do this. I could literally, like, you don't have to be born with this. So I think Hot Pot, the Hot Pot Studio crew, was not as refined. We got to come out in those colored t-shirt belts that we made for $4 because nobody had any money. We got to do things a little bit differently. And like I said, I do know that someone outside is listening to this and being like, here's all the negative things that you did, Amy. And I know that there is like a downfall to a lot of this. And I see it much more clearly now when I can say that I've been dancing for, 30 years. But at the time, like I said, I could do no wrong and I had no fear.
But I think, well, that's my personal take on this, but I think that part of the bravery is also, um, brave enough to be messy and maybe
Yeah,
brave enough
we
also.
were messy. Yeah. I remember actually one dance teacher specifically, I will not name names, was like, I don't get it. If you're not going for perfection, then what are you going for? And I was like, oh my gosh, everything else.
Yeah.
Everything else. I'm going for everything else but perfection. Like, that's like literally, but I'm so fortunate because I'm not a perfectionist. And I do know a lot of people in this scene who suffer from perfectionism. That is not me. I could literally just, I don't second guess it. I don't reread it. I don't do a lot of editing. There are some problems in that. But if I have to fall on imperfection or perfection, I would like to fall on imperfection every day because I just can't imagine trying to make things so perfect.
Yeah.
I'm
And,
always
and I
like, it's
think
fine.
it's like you're built this way, you know. This is your creative process. And
Yeah.
when I was mentioning messy, I was also mentioning like brave enough to do something you might how can I say, like not being perfect, you know? And it's,
Yeah.
you know, people will be mad at me maybe
Yeah.
20 years from now or
Yeah.
maybe 20 minutes from now just
Yeah.
because I did this, but I'm just gonna do it, you know?
You did it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel the same way. I'd always rather do than not do, but I like to say too that like dance has been my most proudest and most embarrassing moments of my life.
Yeah, you have to have both, otherwise
Yeah,
it's
I've
not.
taken a lot of risks. I've been very vulnerable. I've taken a lot of risk. I've really put myself out there in movement, in words, as a leader. So it's like, of course, I'm going to get critiqued. I've absolutely, and I don't put myself out there in every way, but in
Yes.
dance, it's all on the table. Which is
Yeah.
funny. I just hooked up with my childhood best friend. Her name is Anna. And Anna and I were like kindergarten through like junior year of high school, like super tight. And then we didn't see each other after we were 17 years old. And last year, I got to see Anna for the first time. And we were both just laughing about like, how could I be a dance teacher? How could I be, not even how could I be a dance teacher, but how did I write a dance format? Like, that's the wildest things. I mean, amazing dancers out there don't write dance formats. Like,
Yeah.
what happened? How could this happen? How could this happen? It's wild.
Well, we don't have, you know, control over our lives. You know, like sometimes
Yeah.
it's just we're just playing our parts and we don't know our script. Just going.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And especially when you don't, like I was saying, I'm not really a past or future person. I don't really like long-term goals. I don't do any goals over 1 year because life just happens and I can't finish it. I've tried to do it a couple times and I applaud people who can be like, in 5 years, I will be this. And I'm just like, I like that is just so long for me that I think that I feel really lucky that I didn't have that long-term goal because I wouldn't have found dance. There's no way. If I was really focused on something and I've gotten more from dance than aside from my children and my partner and the creek and the trees and the rocks, I think it's well, maybe it's all the same too. Maybe it's all the same as well, but I'm so lucky that I found dance and I know it.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
it.
that's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And I love dance more today than I did on day one, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Because you mentioned you were not in love with that, but then
No,
you
it took
were.
me years. It took me years to fall in love with dance. Years.
It it was like that kind of relationship you have with a beloved that, you know, you meet each other and at the beginning you're like, oh, who's this? I don't like you. Just step away. And then you're like, oh, maybe I like you. And then,
Yeah. I
and
think I
then,
have a hard time with I think I kind of have a little bit of a detachment style as well because it was also the same with my children. Like I had a really hard time when they were babies. Like it just the first, you know, everybody's like, "Oh my God, my baby! I've never known how to love so much, and now I know." And I was just like, "Ah, ah, ah," you know. It just I didn't know, and like now the kids and I are just so woven, so tight. But I think it takes me a while. Even my dog, my dog and I are best friends. But that first year of having her, I was just like, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? And now I'm like in deep with the dog and the kids and dance. But it did take me a while.
everything which is important needs a little bit of time to get into
Yeah,
that
I'm the opposite.
space.
You know, I think some people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in love today," and then like 3 weeks later, they're like, "Oh, actually, no."
Yeah, yeah,
It
that's
takes
true.
me a while to like dig my claws in, and then as soon as my claws are in, though, nobody's getting out alive.
That's good. And tell me, well, you've been around for, well, you started, what time, when did you started creating ideas? So you told me Unmata was already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, Umacha was already there, and I think I started. I was just talking about this with Raven. I think I started creating ITS in 2004.
Wow. Okay. So you've
Yeah.
seen a lot of changes, happen in this 20 years
Yes.
of being in the scene and
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
career and in contact with all of the community.
Yeah.
So this question is like, so, but all right. So if you, Emmy, would love to say, which is the big question, what the heck is this? What is fusion? How can we put into words what this dance style is for you? Like, how would
Yeah.
you define it?
Yeah. For me, for my style, I think that it is okay, I'll just stumble forward. You know, when they say, I'm
Please,
just going to
yes.
stumble forward, you know? So I think this changes all the time for me. And if I'm talking about my specific style, I think it is quite the representation of an American dancer. 100%. I try to, this is going to be just a horrible way to think about it, but I am in love with it because I am an American dancer. So I don't say this to critique myself or to make myself feel like I'm not as worthy. I think I'm just being transparent in how I feel about it. But you know the idea of a strip mall? Do you have strip malls in Italy?
No,
A strip
no.
mall is for us is like this big giant building with one parking lot and it has like 12 stores.
Okay.
So it's not just like one store. It's a mall, but it's
Yeah.
this we call it a strip mall because it's like shallow and it's got a store and a store and a store and a store and like it's a barber and then it's a pizza place and then it's a, what clothing and then it's a shoe store and then it's whatever. And it's not very deep. It's not very deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you're going to the store of lamps. You're not going to like the giant lighting store. It's these little stores. And you can go there and kind of get a little taste of everything at a strip mall. And I kind of feel like I'm a strip mall a little bit, where
Mm.
it's authentic to the community. It's what the community needed. They needed this little business here. It employs people. It's bustling, but also has a lot of turnover rate. The shoe store leaves and the other person comes in because it fits the culture and it fits the need and it fits the people. I think I have all of these different offerings, like I studied rock sharky a little bit and I studied fat chance a little bit. I studied Salampur, probably the longest. I studied hula for a long time. I did some hip hop, but you can't go deep with hula with me. You could do a
Yeah.
little bit of hula with me. Like I know some vocabulary. I've mixed it up a lot. It's changed every time I'm with my hula teacher. She's like, "What is happening?" And I'm like, "Oh, just took some liberty here and there. Been on my own in the living room, making this choreography." So I think fusion for me is very shallow tastes of my personal studies,
Mm.
and you really can't go deep into any of these influences. You could get a good taste from me. And then you could be like, "Oh, I really love your hula stuff. I need to go study with a hula teacher." "Oh, I really love your rock sharky influence, but I don't teach rock sharky. I teach Amy Sigil." And it's just like this authentic journey of everything that I love, everything that I've studied, and how it moves in my body. And because I wasn't a trained dancer starting, I'm very, very creative in the work. And I tried to make an authentic hula piece for my teacher as a reverence gift like 10 years ago. And she was like, "I love this fusion so much. Like, look what you've done." It's hard for me to hold on to someone else's work so seriously. I think that some people are really good at that. I call them dancers. I don't think I'm a dancer. I think I'm a mover, a choreographer, a creatrix. I'm not a dancer. You actually can't tell me to do a double pirouette, pas de bourrée, something, something, something. I would never be able to do that. And some people can. But what I could
Mm.
do is make you something really fun that fits the vibe, gives you energy. Like, do you want to be brave? Do you want to be this? So I think for me, I can kind of compare it to like multiple shallow tastes with a thick, thick, thick aftertaste of Amy Sigil.
I
And that's
actually,
my fusion. Now, on a bigger macro level, if we're talking about tribal fusion, and everybody's going
Yeah.
to know what I mean by that. I don't use that word, but if we want to talk about that specific style that we've all been exposed to, I think that the key elements are music, 100% music. If you put on something very, very traditional in rock sharky, the tribal fusion doesn't match to it the same way. So it's like if you're able to play with the music a little bit, I think that is a key element. And I also think that isolations are a key element to our fusion, because I had a wonderful, wonderful teacher. His name is Edwin Olvera, and he taught for Pilobolus, which for me, Pilobolus is like the biggest deal in the world. I love them so much. It's a group that's been around since the 70s, and they are a contemporary and modern dance troupe. And when I was working with Edwin Olvera, sending him videos, he helped me with a solo that was just really, he's amazing, and Emily Kent, amazing. But Edwin said to me, "What is the matter with everybody's head? Why is your head so stiff, and why are you obsessed with the front?" And those are two key elements I find in our fusion style. One, our head is completely disconnected. Like if you watch Rock Sharky, there's like so much head movement involved. And for us, no, there isn't, right? Our heads are just very, unless we're like, and roll and up, right? But our heads are very disconnected. And also, our style is obsessed with the front. What is the front? How does this look from the front? Do you like this from the front? And when you watch like some of the dances, contemporary, modern, there's no front. There's no
Yeah.
front, but we are obsessed with the front. And I think that that comes from this mixture of not being free at first in our dance, and really being like kind of tight and locked in and taught, you know, then
Mm,
that expression of dancing in the kitchen with your grandma and things like that. But I also think it adds in from the rock sharky element of entertainment. And I
yes.
think that not all dance styles have that entertainment. When we are ready to entertain, what does this look like for you? You know, does it look better like this, or does it look better like this? When I don't think this is often um, a concern for other dancers. So I think music, our head placement, and our obsession with the front are key
Wow.
elements.
I love this analysis, of these three elements. You just let me, you made me remember like the head thing. I was really like seeing that a lot. And for me, what I was getting like from my, little bit of studying, I was thinking, well, maybe because in Fat Chance, you have at the beginning, they were
Yeah,
wearing a lot
big
of
turbans,
turbans, and they were having swords or anything on top of
the
their head. So that,
headdresses for the
yes,
fusion people. Yeah.
so the neck was like very stiff to hold all of that heaviness on top of their
Yeah.
heads. So maybe that's why our head feels it's like
Yeah.
we
And
don't
I think
have that flow. Like,
training isolations too. You know, I mean, I don't know if you go over to Cairo and someone's going to be like, lift, drop, shoulder, shoulder, lift, drop. I don't think that happens.
no, I think this is very Suheila's first influence into this style.
Yeah, and she was studying with the Boogaloo crew. She's in the
Yeah.
Bay Area. There was popping and locking and waving. You know what I mean? So it's like it all makes sense how it came. But it was Edwin who was like, "What is the matter with everybody's head? Why are you paralyzed in the head, and why are you obsessed with the front?"
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I am obsessed with the front. And he actually challenged me in this particular solo to not be obsessed with the front. And I worked so hard to make a piece that he liked that was still obsessed with the front.
Oh, that's so cool. And you
But
you did
I
it.
could not let it go. I couldn't let it go.
Uh,
It was still obsessed with the front, but he liked it because I made it so it was important that it was obsessed with the front.
well, I'm also an Indian classical dancer.
I know that.
Yeah. And in Bharatanatyam, I mean, we're so obsessed with the front because it's all about the storytelling. So you want to
Yeah,
be
it's
in
that
front.
entertainment. It's that entertainment value, that storytelling value, which I don't think is the same in every dance culture. And I think
Yeah.
that has bled over into our fusion is really that entertainment value as well.
Yeah.
What does it
Yeah.
look like for you when, sometimes when you get into contemporary, it's like you almost feel like it doesn't matter if you're there as an audience,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
beautiful too. No
Yeah.
critique, just what I see.
Yeah. So, and what about the, let's say, community aspect of your specific take on like on the ideas,
Yeah.
because all of that is really about like the dance.
Yeah.
But what about what did you see? It's, let's say, is community a key element for you? I think it is. Well, for
Yeah.
the ideas, and
Yeah. It's the biggest. And I think, I was really born on a team. I've been on a team my entire life of some sort. So I've probably done 3 solos, 4 solos in 30 years. I really love group work. It's more powerful. And I think it's two reasons. One, I'm really good on a team. And I am a great, I have a funny story from my mom. It's so great. So I loved basketball. I really loved volleyball, but I was better at basketball. And I was not able to get a scholarship in basketball at all because I was not good enough to get that scholarship. And my mom said, Amy isn't the best player. She's just the spirit to the team. And they just don't give scholarships for that. And I really took that to heart in a beautiful way because I'm very mediocre and average in everything that I do. I told Shelly, I said, how can I dance for 30 years and be so fucking average? This is wild. Like, there are teenagers who have been dancing for 4 years that are so much better. Like, how can I be so average after all of this work? And people be like, you're not, Amy, you're so special. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I know I'm special. I know I'm beautiful and special and all of those things, but I'm a very, very average dancer. It's like, how can that be? And why am I doing what I'm doing and still being so average? And it's because I really have so much emotional availability for the people around me. I'm very friendly. I'm friendly in the room. You've seen me. I'm friendly in the interview. I actually shine in a group. And I think some people lose themselves in a group and it causes a lot of discourse. I wasn't heard. No one heard me. I didn't get the costume I wanted. I showed this and no, 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 no. I actually shine in a group. I'm so good at leading a team. I'm so good at being part of a team that when I'm on my own, I'm not as good. I don't show up the
Mm,
same. I'm not excited about it. I don't care as much. I don't work as hard. But you get me in front of a group of people, and I really want to do my best. And I wonder if that comes from a lot of church. We did a lot of masking in our family. You'd have these tough mornings where we're screaming at each other, but my dad's the preacher. So when you show up at the church, you're just like, good morning, good
mm,
morning. And it's not fake. It's just I'm so good at switching it on. I could be in the bathroom crying hysterically. Everything is falling apart, but you put me in front of a dance room and I'm just lit on fire. So for me, it's all about community. And I think also with ITS specifically, what I love about it is that you are required to have dedication, trust, and care for others, but it does not require flexibility. It does not require, strength in certain ways. Like, it really is like anybody could do this. Is it hard? For sure. I've went so deep into it. There's so many details that, yeah, it's a hard format, but it's not hard like you can't do it.
yeah.
You really just have to show up. And I think that that's the best thing for me. I'm not a natural at anything. I don't shine right away. I'm not like, oh my gosh, like this prodigy. But I tell you, when it comes to dedication and consistency, nobody can touch me.
I love that.
I continue to show up every day for my community during the pandemic when everybody was like, I'm not teaching online. I'm not doing this. I'm not this. Like, I was just like, how can I show up for my community? How can I show
Mm.
up for my community? How can I be there? And of course, it's full circle because I wouldn't show up for myself. So people show up for me and then I show up for them. And of course, like I said, I'm getting all the benefits. It's
Yes.
sometimes when artists are just like, and I just give and I give and I give and everyone takes from me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, get, get over it. Like, this is for you. This is for you. These people chose you to, like, you're learning how to lead, you're learning how to teach, you're learning how to choreograph, like, I think sometimes we can get confused as artists and think that we're just like, just sacrificing everything all the time. It's not the case.
That's
Not
so
the case.
no, definitely not.
No, it's not the case. Stop telling yourself that.
That's the opposite, actually.
It's the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
community number one, key inclusivity, really important for me. To a fault sometimes, for sure. I've let a lot of things go. I've learned a lot, in opening this new studio, which I just opened in June. This will be my
Yes.
fourth studio. And Hot Pot, I had Hot Pot for 19 years, and I was a baby when I opened Hot Pot, and I made a lot of big mistakes, huge mistakes, blood on my hands, like, really hurt people, really helped people, really hurt people, delivered flowers, delivered shit. And opening up this studio was a big reflection for me on how I want to move forward better. It was a great time.
Well, we come back to the same idea, be brave enough to be messy and just to learn every step along the way. And just, the next step is going to be better, because
Yeah.
I'm learning every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I made some big mistakes, including everybody right away. But that's very important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also did some damage, but I also did great work.
Hopefully they balance each other.
I think I did more good than bad, but some of the lessons were hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think it's life,
Yeah. And then owning those lessons is equally as hard because you worked so hard, It's like you want to be like, I did my best, and your
Yeah.
best wasn't good enough. And that's okay. I was just talking about how it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. It's okay to say that you failed. I think a lot of times people always be like, it wasn't a failure. It was a learning, and it was this. And it was like, nah, I kind of failed at that.
Mm.
That's okay. I could try again. And I have multiple times. But,
Yeah.
you're always the hero in someone's story and the villain in someone's story. And there's no way around that.
Yeah, that's true. And I have another question for you. I know it's like the final bomb, like just to boom. Um, but if okay, you said you are a very present person, but if you will have to sneak into the future, maybe in the near future, and look at this dance style, we just call it fusion, what do you see ahead for this dance style? And do you have any suggestion that you would love to share with the community, with the scene?
This is a bomb.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that, like, my true answer has a lot of, will have a lot of pushback, I think, from people who are angry right now. And I think it's valid to be angry right now. But I struggle with toxic positivity.
Mm,
It's really easy for me to think very positively in really hard times, which I think it can be beautiful, but also can be damaging. So my 100% honest, transparent answer is we all need to be more kind. We all need to be more loving. We need to make sure that we personally are prepared to walk into these rooms on a higher frequency than those around us, or don't walk in. I think that our frequency can be all over the place, but maybe that's for your home. Maybe that's for the lake. Maybe that's for the creek. Maybe when you're really fucking pissed off, maybe we don't need to be leading people through healing movement while we're angry. But I hear myself arguing with myself already, being like, how did any change happen without angry mobs? How are we supposed to, And I think what it is that for some people, they work so well angry. Like, I know a lot of people, they're like, I'm fucking pissed off. Watch me change everything. And I'm not that person. When I'm
Mm.
angry, I'm an Aries. I'm ready to burn relationships down. I'm ready to just burn everything down. People around me dance. Like the last thing I want to do is dance when I'm angry. So for me, if I don't stay in a high vibration of like, no, there's healing to be done. I could help these people get there. I'm coming from a like I don't like to rile people up. I don't like to rile people, and rile people up meaning getting them hotter and hotter. And I say this to
Mm.
Raven because Raven will come out of some of these work meetings that they do and be like, and this and this and this, and it's actually not my instinct to be like, yeah, and also
Mm.
this and this and this. My instinct is to be like, hey, this isn't your story. Where's your story? Where is your story in this? Where are you coming in? So I'm always trying to de-escalate, and I do find I do find problems in that. Of course, it's like, how are you going to be full of love? It's just like you want to be just like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up right now with your love and your high frequency and your healing and your whatever. But I think for me personally, if I stay in a kind and loving and constructive place, I can do better work myself. So in the future, gosh, it's so hard for me to even think about the future. I don't know, but in the present right now, I'd like to be the difference of the person that you meet at the checkout stand, you know? I'd like to feel so good in myself that when people meet me, they're like, when you meet someone in the store and it's like you don't know them, but like you and I would do that. We would do that. We would be over the oranges and we would look at each other and it would be something different. It
Mm.
would, because we have this light about us, this like magic and chemistry, and I want to be that for people. I think that's what I want all the time in the present, in the future, is that I want to make a difference. I want to make the day better. I want to be full of love and healing and bravery and all of those things. And in the future, I really don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you for me that I'm going to continue to show up in the best way that I can. If I'm not my best, I'm going to try to get myself there in preparation, however I need to do it. I do think that we're going through a lot of beautiful changes. I love the terminology changes. I love the discussions. And I think that sometimes people think this scene thinks that they're behind. They're like, oh my gosh, we're so behind because just now we're looking at this. Just now we're looking at this. But actually, in the secular world outside of what we're doing, people are just starting to talk about this,
Yeah.
just starting. I actually think that this scene has a lot of conversations before the rest of the world. I really do. So I think we are ahead of the game. I think we're having amazing discussions. I think people are going to continue to dance. I think people are going to be really digging in, especially with AI. Oh, look, here's the future. Here's the future. We're going to dig in because of all of this AI and all of this stuff. We're going to crave human connection. We're going to crave dance classes. We're going to want to move together. We're going to want to be light and wonderful and brave and happy and angry and sad all through movement, because the rest of the world is becoming just so, I don't know if you call it electronic. I don't know what the word is anymore, but we're going to find a way to get back to each other. People like you and me are going to constantly show up embodied, and this is very important. And in the end, we win.
That's so good. Thank you so much for
And I
this.
hear the arguments. I hear the arguments already, and I know.
But fuck the arguments, Okay, everyone has the space to say what it's coming from
Yeah.
your
Also,
authentic
be
self.
angry and be pissed off and burn shit down, and I love that too.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some fucked up things out there, and I don't want to be one of them.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
be one of the fucked up things, and so I'm constantly working at not being so fucked up.
Amy,
If we
wow,
all if we all could work on ourselves, if we all could, and it's horrifying because some of us are, but then some of us aren't, so it ruins everything. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about even world leaders who just need to go work on themselves and like find that joy and find that peace of mind. It's not even happiness. No one's shooting for happy. Let's shoot for peace of mind and immediate, like what's around us that we can help. That's been a big lesson for me. I spent so many years on tour inspiring other humans all over the world and missed out on a lot of things with my kids. And that's been a big reflection right now where I'm like, oh, I need to show up actually for my kids right now in their 20s and 30s. Tangerine's 30, Plum is 28. Like they're really in like that. There's just a lot of hopelessness around them. So the job right now for me is not necessarily to go to Italy and tell all of these beautiful people that blah, blah, blah. It's also for me to go over to Plum's house tonight. I started a dance troupe with my daughter for the first time and my
Wow.
daughter-in-law for the very first time ever. I'm dancing with them and I'm like, oh, this is important. This is important. It's important for me to drag Plum to the creek because they won't do it themselves because they're 28 years old and they work a desk job. You know what I mean? I know it's important. It's important for me to get Tangerine to rehearse on Sunday mornings. We're dancing. So yeah, I'm just really trying to be as great as I can for everybody around me.
That's so beautiful.
But in the
Yeah.
end, we win. That's the future. Love wins and all the bad people die.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love that. Yes. Where can I sign up for this?
Yeah. You already signed up.
All right, that's
Yeah.
good.
You're already in.
No, but I mean, really, you mentioned something which is, I think, so essential in for the, let's call it the community, the scene. Like, how can we show up for each other in a way which is uplifting, in a way which is holding our energy up, even when you're dancing as a soloist. Like for me, your job is really to transform people's experiences, and to uplift them. And
Yeah. How can you be generous with those around you in the dressing room? And I think I talk about this a lot. People lack confidence and awareness in what they think they can bring. People think they don't matter in the back room when they matter the most in the back room. They matter the most. Teachers like us, we matter the most in the back room. We matter the most in the green room. We matter the most in the parking lot before we walk in. Yes, the performances are lovely, but I watch a lot of people walk into these spaces thinking that they're the only one. Like, oh, it's just me. I'm going to put my headphones on. I'm going to like just disappear. And I don't think they're doing it for these like selfish reasons. I think they're not aware of the power that they have in these moments before and after these performances with these people where I'm like, you could change everything for those people around you. So
yeah,
be generous, open your mouth, make eye contact, smile at people. Stop trying to disappear all the time. Like we have something to bring. It's that bravery, you know what I mean? It's that bravery and it's not false confidence. It's just I know I make a difference in the room.
yeah.
I know
That's true.
I know I can change the game. I can make this the shittiest experience so easy. I can make this a beautiful experience. Like the power is in my hands and I know that.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true. Especially as a teacher, a leader of a troupe,
Yeah.
you hold so much power.
Yeah.
You can change everything if you want it
Yeah.
energetically.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've watched that. You know, you walk into some rooms and the teacher's like in the corner looking at notes or like pretending to do something and everybody's stretching like on their own. Like there's nobody
Yeah.
else in the room. And I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. I see you. You're standing right next to me. You know, but it's scary. It can be scary for people to take that risk. They don't know what to do. And I think you just got to take a stab at it.
We have this say in Italian, which is nessuno è indispensabile, which means no one is, how do you say indispensabile? Like so important that you need it at all costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and a friend of mine once said, well, it's the opposite. Everyone is indispensabile.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's either all or nothing.
yes,
Yeah.
everyone.
Everyone.
Even those people who are in the corner, and you think they're not even there. Everyone, just go there and everyone is indispensable.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And are you in Sicily, right?
Yeah,
I'm in love with Sicily. I got to go one time. I'm in love with
yeah.
Sicily. Yeah, actually, I got Raven and I into quite a bit of automobile trouble in Sicily. I did.
Ooh,
I rented a car, and it was one of your cute little 500s, your little
mm,
Fiats. And
yeah.
I was following this old school GPS back then, and it took me on a really wild road. And then we ended up in the middle of a field, and it wasn't really a road, but we were like so far in that I was like, maybe we could make it. And it was like 2 more miles in this like cow field, and there was no more road left, but we couldn't go back like 20 miles. So I like ran to the other road to see if we could make it. But we ended up going through this like wild field. We ended up scraping the car all up. I thought I was going to crack the gas tank. We eventually did make it out, and then we had to buff out the car to see if we could return it. Nobody said a word about it, so that was really nice. But I did do some four-wheeling in a Fiat out in Sicily.
Wow, that's a story. Well, come back, you and
I would
Raven and
love to.
Tangerine Plum, everyone.
I would love to. Yeah, we fell in love with Sicily.
Yeah, come back anytime. Thank
Thank
you so much, Amy. Thank you so much for your time, for your morning, for your cup of coffee with me, and for this beautiful talk. I think it's going to be so inspiring for everyone listening.
I hope
Seriously.
so. I hope so. Yeah. And thank you so much for this morning. It was a beautiful conversation, and I'm always interested into what I'm going to say. So that's really fun too.
So yeah, I was, coming back and listening and like, did I say that?
Some of my interviews, I'm just like, wow. But that's where I was at. And I think this is important to give each other. I've been really focusing on the word grace. And
Mm,
what's the difference between grace, forgiveness, and tolerance? And my mom, being a very religious person, she's really attached to the word grace, amazing grace. And it has this like religious background to it, And so I'm talking to my mom and I'm like, Mom, what's the difference between grace and forgiveness and tolerance? Like, I don't get why it feels different, why grace feels older to me and more mature. And I just don't get it. And she said, well, it's because it has nothing to do with tolerance and it has nothing to do with forgiveness. If you show grace, it means time and space with kindness. And she
mm,
said, you can put this into something very small and literal, like someone cut me off in traffic. Can I give them that time and that space, but with kindness? Like, oh, yeah, yeah, please go ahead, instead of you, blah, 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 blah. Fine, just go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, that's not grace. And
yeah.
grace is that, like, hey, you said something that affected me, or maybe you don't know something, maybe you used a word that really offends me or whatever, but can I give them that time and space, but can I do it with kindness? Instead of the lecture right away, instead of this, can I find out more? And I thought it was such a beautiful thing. And I feel that way for myself in interviews. Can I give myself time and space with this? And also, can I be kind to myself? And it's also because I'm giving that to myself, I'm able to like hear more things that I
Mm.
disagree with and be nicer about it. So I'm going to give myself grace and time. I'm going to give myself grace with this interview, but I'm also asking everyone else who watches this to give me some grace too.
Yes, please. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, Grace.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you loved this video, share it with a friend and comment down below. Let me know what you liked more about this conversation with Amy. This will greatly help me to create more videos and share more of this work with you and all the other beautiful dancers out there. And don't forget to download your free resource, which is my 7-minute daily dance ritual. You will find it in the show notes so that you can keep up with your daily dance practice, which is really what really create the transformation in our dance life. Thank you again, and I'll see you next week for the next video.